So then we're going to jump down to verses 28 through 37. All of this happened to Nebuchadnezzar the king. 12 months later, he was walking on the roof of the royal palace of Babylon. The king began speaking and was saying, "Is this not Babylon the Great, which I myself have built as a royal residence by the might of my power and for the honor of my majesty?" While the word was still in the king's mouth, a voice came from heaven saying, "King Nebuchadnezzar, to you it is declared, sovereignty has been removed from you, and you will be driven away from mankind, and your dwelling place will be with the animals of the field. You will be given grass to eat like cattle, and 7 periods of time will pass over you until you recognize that the Most High is ruler over the realm of mankind and bestows it on whomever he wishes." Immediately the word concerning Nebuchadnezzar was filled, and he was driven away from mankind and began eating grass like cattle, and his body was drenched with the dew of heaven until his hair had grown like eagle's feathers and his nails like birds' claws. But at the end of that period, I, Nebuchadnezzar, raised my eyes toward heaven, and my reason returned to me, and I blessed the Most High and praised and honored him who lives forever. For his dominion is an everlasting dominion, and his kingdom endures from generation to generation. All the inhabitants of the earth are of no account, but he does according to his will among the army of heaven and among the inhabitants of earth, and no one can fend off his hand or say to him, "What have you done?" But at that time, my reason returned to me, and my majesty and splendor were restored to me for the honor of my kingdom, and my state counselors and my nobles began seeking me out. So I was reestablished in my sovereignty, and surpassing greatness was added to me. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise, exalt, and honor the King of heaven, for all his works are true, and his ways all his ways just, and he is able to humble those who walk in pride.
Well, there you go.
Yes, there it is, right?
Yeah, I love the verse 29. All this happened.
Yeah. All that happened to him. Yeah. So it's about 12 months later, so maybe he's forgotten. Maybe he's just not thinking about it, but he's, because nothing's happened, he's just kind of continuing in his own way.
Yeah.
He's walking along and he's looking at everything and he's like, "Man, I'm amazing. Look at everything I've done."
Yeah, which kind of similar to Daniel. So I think here's if you're a king, don't walk on the roof of your palace.
Right. It's David.
Yeah, David. What did I say?
Daniel.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. Don't walk on the roof. Yeah. So he's walking around. He starts talking about how great he is. And while he's still saying it, a voice comes from heaven and pronounces judgment. Right. And he's told he's going to live like cattle, specifically oxen. Mm-hmm. Something that I think is interesting about this is that if you think about what oxen were and are, they're beasts of service.
Yeah.
They don't determine where they go.
They're working animals.
Yeah.
They're always in submission, as I would imagine you're probably about to say, to the person driving the cart, the wagon, whatever.
So God ultimately turns him into a beast of burden.
Yeah.
And is like, you don't get to determine your steps.
There isn't. Yeah. You have no freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're not a wild animal. You're a penned animal, or however you'd say it.
Yeah. Now, look, this condition is considered literal, and there is an actual scientific name for it.
Yeah.
Insania zoanthropica, or boanthropy, which is the delusion that one is an ox.
There you go.
Yeah. Dr. Raymond Harrison of Britain had a patient suffer from this in 1946. So there are other documented cases of what Nebuchadnezzar went through, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is said to have taken 7 periods of time, which we say is 7 years. Historically, there is no record of the king's activity between the years 582 and 575 BC.
Oh, there you go.
Right. So that could be coincidence of things being lost over time.
Yeah.
Or it could be that the king was gone for 7 years.
Well, yeah, because it says 7 periods of time, in the earliest. I'm like, well, maybe that's 7 days, or it could be 7. But yeah, it probably sounds like it's more likely 7 years.
More likely 7 years. If you think, too, about the way his hair grew and was matted and looked like feathers, and the way his nails grew,
right?
Like they look like claws, like that's going to take some time, right? So Now, this was kind of a predetermined period, right? We saw from the very beginning in the vision, it's going to be
Yeah.
7 years, right? Or 7 periods of time. And at the end, he's given back his ability to reason. And when that happens, he has nothing to reason except that God is who he says he is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If eating grass for 7 years doesn't get you convinced, then
Right.
what is going to?
Yeah.
Right? So he specifically acknowledges then the endurance of the kingdom of God, which lasts through all of man's generations. He recognizes God has all dominion and it's an everlasting dominion. And he recognizes that he has personally been humbled and that God does this to those who deal with pride or who are prideful, right? So the king really, I think we see really the first and maybe only time the king authentically worships God,
For sure.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. When you read this, it reads with humility here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even then he talks about things being, sovereignty and surpassing greatness. He says it is added to him, right? Which is kind of how we talk about what God does, right? If you read through the scriptures, God adds these things, right, to you. He didn't claim them; they were given to them. Given to him. He recognizes that this was God's work,
For sure.
right?